All right, let's talk about it. We're going to dig into the specific money habits that might be secretly holding you back. But, and this is the key part, we're also going to uncover the core foundations for building real, lasting wealth. Let's jump right in. So, let's just ask the big question right out of the gate. We hear all this news about the economy, but why do so many of us feel like we're just running on a financial treadmill? Or maybe even slipping backwards? And if you feel this way, you are absolutely not alone. Yeah, and the numbers, well, they paint a really clear picture. A staggering 73% of people are saving less for emergencies. Compare that to the tiny 25% who actually feel better off than they did a year ago. And then there's this. A full third of people have more debt on their credit cards than they have saved for an emergency. This isn't just some vague feeling of being behind. It's the hard, cold reality for millions of people. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this all down. First, the diagnosis. What's actually going wrong? Then we'll look at the true cost of not doing anything. After that, we build the antidote, the real wealth foundations, and we'll wrap up with your path to action. All right, time for the diagnosis. We're going to pull back the curtain on 5 super common habits that are, frankly, silent killers for your long-term financial health. First on the list is a big one, lifestyle inflation. You know the drill, right? You get a pay bump, and suddenly, so does your lifestyle. The car gets a little nicer, the apartment gets a little bigger, the dinners out get a little fancier. The huge problem, your savings rate stays flat at 0. And this isn't some rare thing. A whopping 70% of Americans let their spending grow right along with their income, which means they never actually get ahead. Okay, habit number 2 is what I like to call flying blind with your money, not tracking where it goes. I mean, think about it. How can you tell your money where to go if you have no clue where it's been? The stat shows 60% of people couldn't tell you what they spent last month. It's all those little things, the subscriptions you forgot about, the daily coffees, the impulse buys. They're like tiny leaks in a boat, slowly sinking your finances. And this next one, habit 3, is so tempting. Borrowing the absolute maximum you're offered. Look, just because a bank says you can borrow $500,000 for a house doesn't mean you should. By choosing to borrow just 20% less on that same mortgage, you'd save over $500 every single month. And over the entire loan, that's nearly $200,000 just back in your pocket. It's huge. And finally, let's talk about what I call the twin habits of vulnerability. Relying on just one paycheck is like trying to balance on a one-legged stool. It's just not stable. One layoff and everything can fall apart. Paired with that is having no financial plan. That's like setting sail without a map or a compass. You're just drifting, and odds are you're not going to like where you end up. Okay, so what's the big deal? What's the real cost of all this? Well, these habits aren't just small mistakes. They come with a real price tag, one that gets bigger and bigger over time. This is truly where the small leaks sink the whole ship. Get ready for this number, $1.2 million. That's how much you could potentially lose in retirement savings over a career from just one of these habits, lifestyle inflation. By just spending your raises instead of investing them, you could be giving up a 7-figure nest egg. That's not just money, that's a completely different retirement, a completely different life. And believe me, the price tag isn't just in dollars and cents. The stress from all this is real. 2/3 of people say it physically affects their health. But check this out. The gap between people who have a financial plan and those who don't is an incredible 13 times. Not 13%, 13 times more wealth. That's not a small difference. That's a chasm. All right, I know that was a lot of doom and gloom, but here's the good news. None of this is set in stone. It is not your destiny. Are you ready to flip the script? Because now we're going to move from the problem to the solution. Let's build the antidote. All right, let's get constructive. The antidote to all those bad habits is to build 5 key foundations. Think of these as the bedrock for a rock-solid financial future, the direct opposites of everything we just talked about. So the first 3 foundations, this is really the engine of your wealth-building machine. It starts with earning and optimizing your income, which is the cure for relying on just one paycheck. Next, you save strategically. That's how you beat lifestyle inflation. You pay yourself first on purpose. And third, you invest wisely. That's how you turn your savings from lazy money into an army of dollars working for you around the clock. And when we talk about investing, this is why it's a non-negotiable. This is the unbelievable power of compound interest. Just look at this. You put away $500 a month. In 10 years, that's over $87,000. Not bad. But let that ride for 40 years and it explodes. We're talking over $1.2 million. Time is your superpower here. Okay, so we've built the engine. The last two foundations are all about playing defense. Number 4 is protecting your assets with the right insurance. This is what stops one major life event, like a medical emergency, from wiping out a decade of your hard work. And number 5 is having a smart plan for taxes and debt management. This is the cure for borrowing the max. Because remember, it's not just about what you make, it's about what you get to keep. You know, this Warren Buffett quote just nails the mindset shift we're talking about. See, most people spend their money all month and then hope there's something left to save. Wealthy people do the exact opposite. They save and invest first, right off the top. Then they live on what's left. It's a simple flip, but it changes everything. Okay, we've diagnosed the problem, we have the antidote. Now for the most crucial part, turning all of this knowledge into actual action. This is how you start, today, to build a new financial reality. So here's what you can do, right now. 5 simple, manageable first steps. First, just for 30 days, track your spending. That's it. See where the money's going. Second, set just one, clear goal. Third, get a starter emergency fund of $1,000 together. Fourth, just start learning the basics of investing. You don't need to be an expert. And fifth, start brainstorming one new way to bring in a little extra cash.
And to make it even less intimidating, let's break that down into a 3-month kickstart plan. Month 1 is all about getting aware. Track your spending, set that one goal. Month 2 is about taking control. You create a simple budget and build that emergency fund. And month 3 is about planting seeds for growth. Research investments, explore those side income ideas. Look, this is a marathon, not a sprint, and these are your first few steps off the starting line.
When you boil it all down, it really comes back to this simple, powerful formula. It starts with financial knowledge, which is what you're doing right now. You add consistent action, small steps taken over and over, and then you mix in the secret, most important ingredient, patience. You combine those 3 things, and the end result is financial freedom. And I want to leave you with this one last thought from, of all people, Chris Rock. He said, "Wealth is not about having a lot of money. It's about having a lot of options." And that's the real goal here. It's not a Scrooge McDuck vault of money. It's freedom. It's the option to leave a job you hate, the option to handle a crisis without panic, the option to design the life you actually want to live. That is true wealth.